Hi guys, James's Car Craze here, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm with the all-new 2024 edition Porsche Panamera. Panamera has been around for a while now. This is the latest incarnation for the 2024 and beyond period. Big thank you for Porsche UK for the loan of this vehicle today. Going to go through the usual exterior tour first and then we'll dive straight in. There's a lot of tech on this car, so we'll go straight in and then we'll do all the infotainment system tutorials and the driver system tutorials. We'll also do a little interior tour as well. So without further ado, we're going to go straight on to the exterior tour, starting off with my usual zoom in here to the headlights. As we can see here, these little things that you can see on the screen here, they're your classic Porsche 4 LED daytime running lights. That's now quite a common feature on all Porsches. That's their sort of their trademark lighting design. And then in the middle you've got your LED main and dipped beam as well. This particular vehicle has the matrix LED headlights. So for those who don't know what LED matrix headlights do, basically it means that the car, using a little camera which is in that bit there, monitors the road ahead. It knows where the cars are coming towards you and it knows where the lights are. The car will keep its full beams on as much as it can, but then it will blank out the part of the beam where the oncoming traffic is, which means that the full beams can be on all the time and not dazzle oncoming drivers, which maximises visibility, which, you know, I think this technology should be standard on all cars, because we are in a headlight war at the moment, people trying to outbright each other's headlights. This technology means that people don't get blinded, but you still get good bright illumination of the road ahead. While we're on this side of the car, as you can see here, we've got some nice big radiators. There's quite a few radiators on this car. It is a V6 engine pushing over 300 horsepower. It does get quite warm, so you do get a lot of radiators. So there's one down there, more in there, and obviously the same the other side. Porsche logo obviously on there. I've got it in this really nice sort of dark grey, which I really like. Moving round, I'm just going to step back a little bit just so you can sort of see the profile of the car. It is pretty similar to the Porsche Taycan, which I have done a video on, and I'll pop a link somewhere either up there. If it's not up there, it will be down in the description somewhere below. Moving in, we've got the 20-inch wheels on this particular model. This is the 4 Carrera model. Got the Porsche black braked calipers in there. They're the 6-piston calipers. Moving around, a nice wing mirror design. These little bits here, that's designed to improve airflow around the vehicle. You also got some vents on there. You got your darkened tint windows at the back, that is as standard. Moving down here, you've got your 4-pot calipers on the back, again same 20-inch wheels on this particular car, although you can get 21-inch as well. Moving around the back, let's zoom out a little bit more just so you can see that. So you've got Porsche going along the middle. This is the Panamera 4. This brake light design and rear light design, that's a continuous strip along the back of the car. This panel here is the spoiler, which pops up. You can either force it up all the time or it will automatically pop up. I believe it's 45 to 50 mile an hour, that will automatically pop up. Going down, you've got the quad exhaust systems. Obviously you've got 2 that side and 2 that side. It is very quiet. It's not designed to be a very loud, rumbly car compared to its V8 equivalent, but it still gives a little bit of a mumble, which you can hear in the interior of the car, which, you know, if you're going to have a car of this caliber, you want it to shout about itself. So, you know, it is a very subtle car, but then again, this is more of a grown-up car. It's not really designed for people who, you know, who want to annoy the neighbours at 3 o'clock in the morning with their exhaust bellowing to disturbing the peace. That's another just side profile of the car there. It looks really nice. Fuel filler cap is on the driver's side of the car on this particular car. And then we'll go back round to the front. There we go. Fantastic, cool. So that is the exterior of the car. I'm going to go right in now into the interior. Right then guys, so we're now in the interior of the car. It's a very nice interior, inspired very much by the Porsche Taycan. The screens that you see on the left and in the middle there, they are actually taken direct from the Taycan. They're screens that are now going to be used mainstream across a lot of the Porsche models, because they've been around. They were first introduced in the Taycan going back way back into about 2020, so they have proven themselves very reliable. More on those shortly. For now, we're going to concentrate on the digital drivers cluster and the steering wheel, beginning with the cluster. This is the first time the Panamera has actually had a complete full digital drivers cluster. In previous incarnations of the Panamera, it has had sort of half and half, so it's had half analog, half digital. From 2024 onwards, this is going to be completely digital, which I think just gives that extra little sort of premium edge to a car. I really love a digital dial. Going to start off with what's on the very left. I must just say, actually, before we go on to that, this is the screen that greets you when you get into the car. This is the default screen layout, and if you've watched Panamera interior videos before, you will know that this is actually a digital representation of the analog dials which you got on previous incarnations of the Panamera. So on the very left here, we've got the 76 degrees. That is your oil temperature. That's pretty much bang in the middle of where it needs to be. That little A, let's just zoom in a tad, there we go. That little A means that the headlight automatic system is active and ready to go. Obviously it's daylight at the moment, so I won't do anything now, but that's all to link in with the matrix headlights, which I mentioned at the beginning of the video. This little dial here, where it says above 50 miles an hour, that is your tyre pressure monitoring system. As you can see there, it doesn't give you any information unless you're doing at least 15 or more miles an hour. Doesn't give you any information while you're stationary. At the bottom there, 652 mi is obviously the miles. That's how many miles the car has done since brand new. This is a very new vehicle. Porsche only took delivery, my local Porsche dealership only took delivery of it a couple of days ago. So that is delivery miles plus a few extra miles. People have sort of played with it. That 17 degrees is the outside temperature, and then the 1211 there is the actual time here in the UK. These little reds symbols here, that means that there are that their seat belts aren't on for any occupants. I haven't got any occupants in the car at the moment, but it just means that those seat belts aren't clipped in. If they are clipped in, and then those lights will then disappear. At the bottom there, you might just see that little car in the middle of the two lanes. That is the status of your lane keeping assist. Obviously at the moment it's off. When it's active, the little car in those little lanes will turn green, and then if you go over the line, or the car thinks it's about to go over the line, that will go red, and you'll get some steering feedback, but more on that in just a minute when we get to driving assist systems. That little dial next to it is the status of the cruise control and the adaptive cruise control. When it's active, it goes green. When it's not active, it goes that sort of grey colour. Bang in the middle is your rev counter and your digital speed. At the sort of the left of that 60 is the automatic traffic sign recognition system. That uses the same camera which is used for the matrix headlights, so that will read the road ahead, and any change in speed limit sign, that will then display it there, so you always know at least what speed you are doing. It even works for roadworks. So for example, if you've got a section of motorway which is normally 70 miles an hour here in the UK, but they've got a temporary speed limit of 50 miles an hour, that will then change all there. At the bottom there, the 166, that is your range for your fuel tank. It's a very big fuel tank, completely full. You're looking at least 450 miles, maybe even more depending on your driving style. This little dial here in the middle of the screen now is the G-force meter, which is quite good if you want to see how much G you can pull when going around a corner, accelerating or braking. Down there, that little P in the brackets means that the parking brake is applied. Where it says normal, that means it's in normal drive mode. You've got Sport and Sport Plus in this, but more on that when we get to the steering wheel. Far right there in the 90 degrees, that is your coolant temperature. Some people might actually say 90 degrees is actually very, very high, because obviously we know that water at least has a boiling point of 100 degrees. But with the coolant mixed in, it means it sort of extends that boiling point. So 90 degrees is actually bang in the middle of where it needs to be. And then right down there, the R, N, D and M, R meaning reverse, P and N meaning parked and in neutral, and the D and M, D for drive and M for manual. This is default automatic, or say semi-automatic, so you can still change gear using the paddles on the steering wheel, which we will get to in just a moment. As said, this is the screen that actually greets you when you get into the car. However, you can cycle through different screens depending on your particular style. To change through these screens, we go and use the round toggle roller switch on the right hand side of the steering wheel. So if I scroll down one, we've now got a few less dials, sort of similar to the layout actually get on the take hand. So on the left there, you've now got a digital representation of an analog speed dial with your speed limits indicator in the middle there. Your rev counter and speed in the middle there doesn't change, that stays where it is. But then on the far right, you then get your trip computer, and you can choose what you want displayed in these outside dials. We'll get on that in just a moment. If we scroll down again, we get another screen. So this screen here, as I said, the left and the right dials don't actually change, but in the middle here, you've got the status of your driver assist systems. In this particular case, the adaptive cruise control. When the cruise control is active, those little outside lines will go green. It will also go green to let you know that the lane keeping assist is on. This also gives you a digital representation of how far behind you are to the car in front. Again, depending on the level that you set your adaptive cruise control. More on that in just a minute. When there's a car in front of you, there'll be a little car that comes up on here, and it'll just give you a little representation of how far you are to the car in front. If the car thinks you're going to get too close, it will go all amber and it will warn you saying you're too close to the car in front. And if you don't react, the car will brake for you. Oh, two trick up there. Scroll down again, you get the map in the middle of the car, which I really like. So you haven't got to have the map on that center screen, meaning that you can have the map in the front of you there, and you can have something completely different on the screen there. Scrolling down again, that is a complete full map there, which means you still get your speed at the top, so you know what speed you're doing, but you get a full map view on there. And then scrolling down again, this is your minimalist view, if I can say it right. There we go. So it does what it says on the tin. It only gives you the information you need, which is the speed you're actually doing and the speed limit at the top there. I'm going to go back to that second screen where I mentioned you can change actually what you want in these outside dials. To switch between the left and right, we use this little button next to the round toggle switch here. If I keep pressing that, you might, I don't know if the camera can pick that up, you might just see, as I press that, you get this sort of this white ring around those dials. So what I want the little white ring around the left dial first, and then to switch what information you want on there, again we use that little toggle switch. So I'm going to scroll down, so I could have my G-force reading in that gauge, I could have the tyre pressures in there, or if I scroll down again, they're the only three things that I can actually have in that middle, that left hand dial. Going to the right hand dial at the moment, as you've already seen, it is the trip computer. If I scroll up, that's your map. At the moment we are off-road and there's no map actually set, but once you set the sat nav, you'll get some basic instructions in there. Lap timer you can have in there. I can't remember what that screen is, which tells you content can't be loaded. That's your media. Sorry, that's because my phone and my media is not connected at the moment, so it's not actually loading. But that's where your media information is. So what radio station you're looking at, you're listening to actually. Or what songs you're maybe listening to on your mobile device. Again, that's an extra little view, extra trip computer, gives you your battery voltage, compass on there and the date, and then that is everything in that particular screen there. That is everything to do with the digital driver's class. So we're now going to move on to the steering wheel. It is quite a big steering wheel actually, but it's very ergonomic in the hand. You could easily drive 10 to 2 very easy. I know some steering wheels, some people say that could be too fat or too thin, and it sort of digs into that bit of your finger. But this is a really nice steering wheel. On the very left here, that button there is your voice control system, your Porsche voice control system. You can either say, "Hey Porsche," I'm going to say that discreetly so the thing doesn't go off, or just press the button and you can do commands, things like call someone. You can send a voice text, you can set the climate control, you can turn the windows down. It's a very advanced system now. That little button, that little toggle swivelly button there, that is your volume control. You can turn that up, turn it down, and if you press it, it pauses your audio, or it mutes the radio station. That little button there, that is your next track button, or your next radio station. If you're listening to your media, for example, you hold that button down and it fast forwards your song. That little diamond button there, that is actually customizable depending on what you want it to do. So we'll go into that in a moment on the actual main screens. But you can actually select what feature is activated or deactivated by pressing that button, which is very good. Standard Porsche logo in the middle there, and the horn. Moving down here, a lot of people actually forget they have this on these Porsches because it's not, you can't see it if you look with naked eye like this. The button for the heated steering wheel is actually right in there. You can't actually see it if you're, for example, if you're driving like this, and there's nothing to say down there that is where your heated steering wheel button is. But you know, if you do know your car, then eventually you will know that your heated steering wheel button is down there. On the far right, that little button there, that is your call answer, your hands-free call answer and hang up. That little curve button there, that is your back button for your information on your screens. We've already gone through this little toggle button there, and we've already gone through that button there. Down here is your drive mode selector. At the moment, default is in normal. If I move it a notch to the right, we're in sport mode. If I move it again, we're there in Sport Plus mode. This particular setup here, this doesn't actually change how much power you have. You've always got the power no matter what mode you're in. It just sort of tweaks the dynamics of the car, and it changes the way and how that power is actually delivered. Just so, for example, if you're in Sport and Sport Plus, it makes the car more agile. It increases the throttle response. So again, you haven't got necessarily more power. It just changes the way in which that power is delivered to the wheels. Little button right in the middle there. If you press that, you go into Super Sport mode, and that will give you, there we go, sport response. So that will give you 20 seconds of maximum attack mode, which is very good if you want to overtake, I don't know, a whole chain of vehicles. Again, doesn't give you more power as such, it just means it goes maximum attack, so you can put your foot down and boom, you're away. There we go, and the countdown has finished there. Paddles on the steering wheel, as I said, you can change the gear using the paddles on the steering wheel. On the left you have your downshift, on the right you have your upshift, and then if I go behind here, this is your indicator stalk, so left, right, and that's also your flash for your full beams, and then that is to activate and deactivate the automatic matrix lights. On the other side is your wiper control. It has automatic wiper control, which is very handy. This little toggle switch here is how fast you want the wipers to go in a certain position, and then you pull that lever towards you, and then that will activate the front heated windscreen washers. This car actually doesn't have a rear wiper, which means that if it's pouring down with rain, visibility out the back can be a little bit, well, it's sometimes non-existent because there isn't any rear wiper. That said, though, you can use the rear camera from the parking settings, but we'll get onto that in just a moment. And then right down here is your speed limiter and your adaptive cruise control settings on there. To select between cruise control and speed limiter, there we go, if I press that little button down there, we can switch between cruise control, limiter, or off. At the moment, we're going to put it into cruise control. I don't think this will work because we're stationary. To activate the cruise control, you pull that lever towards you. When you're doing a set speed, when you pull it towards you, the cruise control will then set to that speed. And then to increase the speed, push it up. To decrease the speed, you push it down. And then to deactivate the system, just push it away, and that will deactivate the system. The speed limiter is very similar, so you press that, you go onto limiter, and then you can increase the limit by going up, down. There we go. If I zoom in, as you can see, at the moment, auto 15, so 15 means that the current speed limit is actually set to 15. I can increase that, you know, for example, I want to increase that all the way to 30, for example. Auto means that, now this is quite clever, it uses the traffic sign recognition, and it will automatically set the speed limit, or the limiter, to the limit of the road. So again, for example, I'm doing 60 miles an hour now. I've just gone through a sign which now says 30 miles an hour. The automatic speed limiter will then set the speed limit or limiter to 30 miles an hour, which means then that you always obey the speed limit, which is very good. Very good also if you have a police car behind you. At least then you can say, okay officer, my car was doing the work for me. I'm going to deactivate that by pushing that lever away. That is everything to do with the steering wheel and the driver's cluster. We're now going to move on to the screens over here. Okay, so this is the central screen. This particular car has also been spec'd with the passenger display screen. You can't actually see, and neither can I, what is on that screen because it's got the special tint on the screen, which means your passenger, if they look at it head on, can see it as crisp as what you can see on the screen here. But for me as a driver, you can't see, which means you don't get distracted on what your passenger's doing. You can just concentrate on what you're doing, which is very good. At the end of the video, I'll also swap sides and I'll just show you everything on that particular screen. It is basically just a copy of what is on these screens with a few extra little bits for your passenger to enjoy. More on that a bit later. For now, back onto the screen. That is the default screen that greets you when you get into the car. On the very left there, you've got your call log. At the moment, my phone is not connected, so there's no information displaying there. But if your phone is connected, that'll give you your recent calls. In the middle, you've got your, at the moment, it's in the Bluetooth audio setting because that's the setting I had it in last. When your phone is connected and you are playing music, that will display your media there. Alternatively, if you've got your radio, if it's on radio mode, your radio station will appear in that middle box there. And then on the right, you've got your map. Going to the very left, you've got your time display at the top there and your phone connection status. At the moment, it says I've got 4G in the area I'm in now. On the very right, you've got some quick shortcuts to various settings of the car. Gonna go through and click the little car button at the bottom there. This takes you to the vehicle settings, starting with drive. This is where you can customize the car a little bit more compared to just swiveling the toggle here. So start off in drive mode. So that is the, as you can see there, gives a little illustration. That is the dynamics of the engine. You can have it in normal, sport, or sport plus. I'm going to keep it in normal for the time being though. Your chassis, so you can independently set your chassis control. You can have it in normal, sport, or sport plus. So that firms everything up, which, you know, if you're going around a corner quite fast, that will firm the suspension in the opposite way. So basically it will stop any lean in the car, which is very good, which means you can go around corners, you know, pretty heavy. And then this is your leveling control. So you can manually set your leveling. At the moment, it's in normal mode. You can lift the car if you're not quite confident you'll get over a speed bump. Or you can have it low or very low to give it a really sporty feel. Start stop, so that's your automatic start stop. That's common in a lot of cars now these days. So when you come to a stop, the car will cut the engine to try and save a little bit of fuel while you're stationary. Good if you're in a traffic jam, or good if you've just come up to a set of traffic lights. Spoiler extended, so this is your to force the spoiler up or down. At the moment it's in down position and it will come up automatically above a certain speed. If I press extend the spoiler, if we look in the mirror, oh, I'm not going to see that. That bit there, that's a spoiler. I'll try and do a photo or a video of the outside of the car with the spoiler, but for now I'm going to keep the spoiler up because it actually looks really good. Assistance, so here we go. So this is the assistance system on there. At the moment it's in speed limiter mode, which is the last mode I left it in. This is basically another way of choosing whether you want to activate the cruise control or the speed limiter. So instead of using the little toggle here, you just use the screen. I'm going to put it back into cruise control. Additional functions. Lovely. So as you can see here, speed warning. So that gives you an audible bong if you're going over the speed limit. Acoustic speed warning, again that just means you can have an audible tone or just a visual prompt on the screen there. Warn and brake assist, so if the car thinks you're going to crash into a car in front or any obstacle in front, that will brake for you. Lane keeping assist, I mentioned that earlier, so that is basically, that will keep you in the middle of your lane, and it will give you some steering vibrations and input if it thinks you're going to go over those lines. Lane departure warning, so if you've got your indicator on, you're about to change lane, if you've got something in your blind spot, or if it thinks that it's not safe to change lane, the car will tell you that it is not safe to do so. You do get, on these bits here, if the car is in your blind spot, you do get a orange warning on there, which is very good. Lane change assist, so blind spot detection and warning. That is basically what I have just said about this little bit here, which illuminates orange. Emergency stop function, so if the car thinks that you haven't paid attention, or if you've come over ill, or if you've just come unresponsive, then the car will stop and stop you crashing into things. If, for example, if you passed out at the wheel or blacked out at the wheel, the car will stop. That uses sensors in all the screen here. It's quite good technology. I'm sure there's videos out there of it. I'm not going to demonstrate that today, obviously, because this isn't my car. Brake recommended, so similar to the emergency stop function, but instead this time this just gives you a warning if the car thinks you're drowsy. If it thinks you're drowsy or you need a break, it will automatically come up on the sat nav as to various service points along the route, which you can then pull into and take a rest, because as we know, tiredness kills, as they say. Trip, so this here is your this is a bigger display of your trip computer, so basically what's on there, but on a slightly different layout on here. You can scroll through different things there. So since I last refueled, I've done about 5.2 miles and 28.2 miles to the gallon, but again, that's country roads, inconsistent speeds. Comfort, so we're going to go with the ambient lighting. Switch on lights means, well, obviously you can turn the ambient lighting off, we can turn it on. This little that little diagram there, actually, that little illustration there, gives you a good idea of where all the ambient lighting is. So you get it in the center console, and you get it around the doors, the front doors and the rear passenger doors. Color, so you can't select a custom color. For example, you can't use like a little wheel and select a proper color. They're all preset colors. You've got white, warm white, dark orange. I like dark orange, actually. I'm going to put it back into that. You've got red, you've got blue, you've got a lighter blue, lime green. Lime green's good if you've got the hybrid version of this car and the bright green brake calipers. Excuse me. And then dynamic. Dynamic means, so depending what driving mode you're in will also depend on what color the ambient lighting is in. Brightness settings on here, so all of them are on 100%. In the daylight, you can't really see the ambient lighting. It's only when it gets darker the ambient lighting really takes to effect. But there you can just select, for example, footwell. Just how bright you want those ambient lights. Driver's seat settings. So here you can select the balance for the heated seats. At the moment, this little illustration here means you've got even heating for the rear and the back. You can change the bias. For example, if you want, if it works, there we go. So you can have all the heat going just to the back, not the bottom. Vice versa, you can have like a Goldilocks bang in the middle. That is also the same for the passenger seat on there. Comfort entry. So when you stop the engine and get out the car, when you open the door, the car, the steering wheel will go in and the seat will go back, meaning you can get in and out of the car very easily. And when you get back into the car and shut the door, the car will know where your last seat position was, and then it will adjust the steering wheel and your seat accordingly. Adjust passenger seat. So this is a very good way if you want to annoy your passengers, or if the seat's in the way. Once I press that button, I can now use my seat controls on my side without having to lean over here, and I can control the if I just hang on, there we go. So I can now control the seat using my buttons on there. As I said, I had a passenger in here the other day, and yeah, really annoyed him. That's everything on that particular setting there. Let's go to, so this button here will be for your Android Auto or your Apple CarPlay. At the moment, as I said, my Bluetooth and everything is off, although when that is active, that you can then go to your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. This button here, there we go, so that is your audio screen. At the moment it's in MP3 or phone audio mode. That's the mode I had it in last, although you can switch between, for example, DAB radio. So if I click that, there we go.
Just a wrap, crisps and drink from 5:49.
That's very loud. And then you just scroll between different radio stations on there. I'm going to put it back to wherever I had it last. Sat nav, there we go. So that is the sat nav screen. You just press that, input your destination, and that will take you to where you need to go. And that home button there is literally does what it says on the tin. That will take you back to your home screen on there. Let's just pause that. I don't want LBC on there. Scrolling across, this is your app screen, so it gives you the options that are on your side there, plus a few others. Car, like I said, we've already been through. That takes you through those settings there. If we go back, there we go. Climate controls, so we'll go through the climate controls next. So, climate controls, they are done by these little buttons and the haptic buttons down here. I'm just going to switch on the car so we can actually get the information on the screen. So let's just start that. There we go, cool. So I've just started the car. At the moment, the whole system is off, and you use these little buttons down here. So I'm going to put, there we go. So starting down here, so your touch button, they're touch haptic. So you still press them, but it's also like a touch screen as well. Auto means you press auto and the car will automatically maintain a temperature by adjusting all the vents and the angle of the vents, so it also helps you defog as well. Sync, where's it gone? There it is. Sync means that you can just use one control to control the entire climate settings in the car, so your passenger will be the same temperature of what you are. Max, so that is max screen defog. That button there is your air recirculation, and that button there is your rear heated window. These here, left and right, these are your heated seat settings, 1, 2 and 3. Up here, these are your little toggle buttons to adjust the temperature, so I can go up, I can go down. This button here controls your fan speed, and this button here you can have your aircon off, or you can have it in max aircon for maximum cooling, although that does make everything very loud, so I'll come off of that at the moment. Climate menu, we press that button there and you get the climate menu up. If you've seen my Panamera video, you will know that on the vents, you don't control the vents with things on the vents. You do it by this touch screen here, and it took a little while for me to get used to, but actually, you know what, this is quite fun. Although, that said, if you want to adjust your vent settings whilst you're driving, it can be a little bit distracting, but we'll go through it anyway. So at the moment, your very left vent, I've got it sort of facing the window up there, although you can move it if you want it sort of pointing down below to your legs or torso. You need it about, you know, sort of there. I'm going to put it on the window. Again, same again, your vent sort of there. We're going to put it, let's say, there. That button there is your ventilation. Oh, where are we? For the front screen, which will then, which if it's raining, you start steaming up. Press that and it'll stop your windows steaming up. And then same again for the driver's side. There we go. Look, you can change all those on there. Alternatively, you can just use these little sitting down people on the right hand side there, so you can have it in full windscreen mode, let's say. There we go. You can have it in just sort of torso, and then you can have it in lower torso as well. Strong and soft is basically how soft or how strong you want these vents, and you can see there it's sort of changed it automatically, which is very good. The rear, you can also control excuse me, the rear temperatures of the car, so how fast you want those vents and also how cool you want those as well, but I'm going to put that off for the moment. That is your climate control settings on there. Let's go back. I can turn the car off again now for there we go, just to reduce the noise a little bit. Notifications, so any text messages or any notifications from the car will appear all on there. Parking, we'll come to settings in just a bit. Parking, so this car can park itself. This is the actual park setting menu. So show surroundings, there we go. So this car has a 360-degree camera system which uses AI to put all those pictures together, and it will give you basically a 360-degree view of your car, which is very good. If I click that button there we go, so I can go between the front, I can go between the back, and it'll give you some options there as well. I'm going to go back from there. Obstacle warning volume, so when you go forward or reverse or left or right, that will tell you that's the volume of the alert that will be presented to you. Active park view automatically, so that is basically all the cameras are activated when you go into reverse. Maneuvering assist, so when reversing, if the car thinks you're going to reverse into something, it will brake for you. Rear cross traffic alert, so if you're backing out of a space, because this car is very long, most of the car is actually out of the space before you can see what's coming left or right, so the car will brake for you if it detects a pedestrian or a car coming the other way. And then exit warning, so again that is basically the same as the cross traffic alert system. So that's the actual parking settings on there. Let's go back. Sport chronos, that is your, there we go, that's basically what we went through on the driver's cut, so that is your lap timer. Let's go back. Devices, so that will show you whose phones are connected. And Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, that's just another method of getting into Apple CarPlay or Android Auto instead of using that little button there. Update, so this car does over-the-air updates when it's connected to a data or Wi-Fi connection. Very good, which means if Porsche release an update for the infotainment system, you can do that yourself rather than having to book your car into a service and someone downloading it from a laptop for you. Video, so you can download videos to the car which your passenger or you can then watch using these screens here. Once it's also connected, you can also search for YouTube, which is also very good. Calendar's on there, so once your phone's connected it will show you what your appointments are. So for example, if you're driving along and you think, when's my next meeting, you can go into your calendar and it will tell you all the information on there. Weather, I don't think that will work because my phone, it's not connected to my phone, so we'll come out of that. When it is connected to a data connection, it will tell you the weather. News, that will give you any news that's going on. Manual, so manual on here is an electronic copy of the user manual which you can access at any point, but again it's being a little bit slow at the moment, probably because it's a brand new vehicle as well, it hasn't all calibrated properly, but it'll do that soon. Breakdown calls, so if you break down, you press that button. I'm not going to press it now because I will get people coming to me to try and rescue me. Press that button and it will go through to a Porsche, a UK, for example here in the UK, it'll go through a UK Porsche call centre who will then come and rescue you. Smart service, so let's click on that actually. Smart service basically tells you on which dates it will need certain services, and on that button then you've got all your legal information, so your terms and conditions and well, whatever legal stuff that you get on those that you get on there. Settings, so we're going to go through the settings now. Displays is the top one there. Central display, so here you've got your brightness for your central display. Touch tone settings, so you might have heard as I've been pressing there's an audible tone when you press things. You can have that loud, medium, or very low. I'm just having it default medium because that's how it all comes. And then the central display, you can actually have it on or off, but obviously why would you have your screen off if Porsche's gone to trouble to give you this really nice cluster. Instrument cluster, so that is this screen on here. So at the moment, configure display scope. So these are all the options that you can scroll between when you want to customize your dials. They're all selected, so G-force map, assistant, navigation, trip, media. Customize view, so instead of using the buttons on the steering wheel, you can manually change what screens you want by going into this bit here. Brightness does what it says on the tin. Personal speed limits, so here we go. If I don't even know how to explain this, so I'm not actually going to go into it, but I don't know, say you go down a road a lot, you can select the most common speed that you go and have that as like a default system. That's probably not any help at all, but that's the only way I can think to explain it. Passenger display, so if I move my phone, there we go, so that is the screen there. In a minute I'm going to swap sides and we're going to go through that screen on there. So that's the brightness of the screen. In standby mode, you can, so for example, over a certain time the screens will go off. You can either have that screen still active for your, so for example, if you've gone into a shop and you leave your passenger in the car, your passenger can still use the car features while you've gone, or you can have it vehicle name, so it'll just say Panamera on the screen. Standby mode is actually off at the moment because I don't really have a passenger, and then you can turn the passenger display on or off on there. Voice control, so this is the Porsche voice control system. We've already gone through that, so I'm not going to go through there. Audio, so here we go. So volumes for different things, how loud you want your park assist, your lane departure tones. Bose, so this has a Bose premium sound system on here. Gonna just move. So at the moment we're in surround mode, so that uses all the speakers to give you a sort of a 3D immersive experience. Linear, I don't actually know what that linear does. Focuses. Okay, so that sort of improves. You know, if a song's more vocal, like for example, opera, if it's more about the voice than the music, it can it changes all, you know, just all the settings, make sure that it is, you know, the true tone voice you're hearing, if that makes sense. Bass and treble does what it says on the tin, so how bassy you want and how much treble you want. Balance and fader, so exactly where you want that in the car. Sound true, so again that uses algorithms to make sure that the sound you know, is perfect how you want it to hear. Navigation, so some more navigation settings on there, so avoid toll roads or motorways. Display routes while starting route guidance, I'm going to have that on actually. Notification sensor, so you can select what sort of notification you actually receive. Phones and connections, I've already gone that. Accounts, there we go, so you can have different accounts and different profiles on the car, so if you've got more than one driver you can log into your account and then it'll adjust all the settings how you want it. It also links to the app which you can get for the car as well, which you can control the features away from the car. Car settings, we've gone through that. Assistant systems, we've gone through that. Sport chrono, we've gone through that. And then your system settings like your units, so Celsius or Fahrenheit, metric or imperial, that's all on there. And setup assistant, that just helps you set up the car from new. That is everything on that particular screen there. While I'm this side of the car, we're going to do the very quick look around. So let's zoom out. So as I said, it's a very nice interior. You've got your clock in the middle there, which previously was an optional extra. It's now standard in the at least the Panamera. These little vents here, you can move left and right depending on how much air you want sort of deflected from the window. Moving around, nice trim all around, nice sort of gloss black on there, which makes the car look really nice and premium. Nice leather supporting seats, nice sort of little holes on there for the ventilation. Going around down here, that is your volume control swivel knob there. This here, lift that up, you've got some USB-C charging ports on there. You've also got a fast wireless charger there. Note to people who have large phones with even large cases, it won't fit basically. If, for example, I've got a Samsung S23 Ultra, it's huge, I've got a bigger case on it, it does not fit, so just bear that in mind. But you can just use the just get a USB-C to USB-C charging cable and you still get fast charge on there. 2 cup holders with spring-loaded supports on there. For whatever reason, this demo car came with a little ring. I don't know why that's in there. And then in here, you got some storage under the armrest. Again, for some particular reason, this demo car came with a pair of scissors and what I believe to be 2 little like GPS tracker things. And then you've got a 12-volt socket in there. So when shut, that's a nice wide armrest actually, so there's no elbow fights with your passenger as to who gets the most armrest. Down here you've got your start stop button there. You've got your auto headlights on there. It's on auto, and then you've got your rear lights on there. Here is your lock and unlock for your car. So when you set off, the car will lock the doors. When you station open, unlock the door from your side, it will unlock. And then set 1, 2, 3, you've got this is where you can actually set the seat positions depending on how many drivers you've got in the car. For example, if you've got, let's just say, 3 different drivers of this vehicle, you can save different seat positions. So you driver 1 presses 1, it moves to their position. Driver 2, press 2, it moves to their position, and vice versa. Nice door handle design, sort of like a matte door handle design on there. Down here are your mirror controls. So, for example, if you want to adjust your right mirror, you press the right mirror, and then you use these buttons here to adjust the mirror. That button there is to move, or I say, there we go, in and out for your mirrors. And then your window controls here and your boot controls down there. Moving on to the back, it's I've just moved these seat forwards, so you do get a lot of leg room, which is nice. Really nice comfy seats. That middle bit in there will come down to give you some cup holders. Down here you've got a little screen. I might jump in the back and do just a very quick video just to show you. That's where your passengers can control their rear climate controls. And then you've got not 1 but 2 panoramic roofs with blinds as well, which you control using the buttons up here. So there we go, and then I push that back. Lighting controls, so that's that there. And SOS, if you press that button, it will automatically call the emergency services. That's everything this time. I'm going to jump in the other side of the car, just quickly show you through that screen, and I'll jump in the back of the car to then show you the rear climate controls, and then I think, guys, we'll be done after that. Alright guys, so I'm in the passenger seat now with the passenger screen. I apologise, I can't get the camera in an angle because it's got that special glary screen thing on it. I can't quite get everything in, but we'll do what we can do. So basically this is a, if I just scroll across like that, it's just a copy of what the driver gets in the middle screen with a few sort of less options, let's say. You still get all your navigation, your media, your phone and device control, so the passenger can be like your DJ for the day. Also got your weather controls there. If your passenger just wants to see what your car is actually doing dial wise, you've got a compass on there. You've got what the car is actually doing, what mode the car is doing in the middle there, and then what G you're pulling. Home screen, it is literally that, guys. It's that simple on there. Just going to jump in the back now and do a little quick video on the rear climate control panel, and then we're all good. Right, now in the back of the car. Actually, that's quite a nice view actually from the back of the car and from the front cockpit. Yeah, down here is a little panel where your rear passengers can control the climate control in the rear of the car. I'm currently the rear passenger side, so I can adjust what temperature I want here, and it will come out these vents and the vents on the side. I can either have the air coming from these vents, or I can have the air coming from under the footwell by pressing that button there. Rear heated seats left and right, they operate in the same way that the front ones do. These buttons here are your fan speeds, and this middle one is for, if I go up, your rear, your top sun visor, as I'm going to call it on there. And then auto, you've got auto mode, which will then, like the front, do everything you need for the rear of the car. That is everything, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. The more subscribers and likes and comments we get, the better the caliber of cars we get. If you've got any questions, pop in the comments. Any other comments, pop in there. I will answer them straight away. But until the next time, guys, thank you very much. Cheerio.